Alrighty, here we are in the Gateway Pundit. Woman left behind by cruise ship. I don't even think I can say this word. Not this soon in the video anyway. Alone on a remote island. Well, let's get into it. Missing a boarding time for a cruise ship could end up to be fatal. Yeah, cruise lines are very stickler for that. You have to be on time because, they have places to be. A lot of time if people are late, they just leave them. But this is a whole next level of different. An 80-year-old Australian woman was discovered passed on a remote island after she was left behind by the cruise ship she was traveling on. The woman was hiking on Lizard Island with a group of other passengers but was separated from the group after she decided to take some time to rest. Okay, so these other travelers, they just went off on their own. The cruise liner ship didn't have like a tour guide or anything to keep track of them. That seems like a pretty big mistake. Because if you have people doing their own little thing on the island, you're gonna lose some. They'll hike too far away, they won't be able to make it in time, or they'll get sidetracked by something like a fancy looking turtle or something like that. So reading this part of the article, it doesn't sound like there was some tour guide or something to keep track of them. They just, like I said, they did their own little thing. The Coral Adventurer ship crews ended up leaving the woman on the island, but returned several hours later to find her after she was discovered not to be on board. So yeah, if they had like a tour guide or something, this would have never have happened, but instead they just let the passengers wander off, and then they realized she was missing, and they had to return to go look for her. How much money did that cost the cruise line? I mean, it's one thing if you're at a port of call and you're late, they can just leave you because it's a port of call. You're supposed to be on time. They probably realized, oh crap, a whole whack of people went off hiking and we didn't have any oversight on it and now one's missing. Tourist discovered passed hours after cruise ship leaves without her. So she passes hours after the cruise ship left her. I mean, I guess she went into a panic and that would have caused it, panic attack, and she is 80 years old, so yeah, that's very possible. The ship left around sunset, but returned several hours later after the crew realized the woman was missing. So you know what they should have done? Before departing, they should have done a head count. Oh, we're missing one. Well, better go look for her. So I'm guessing they didn't do a head count. A major search operation found her body on Sunday morning. No details have been released. The Australian Maritime Safety Authority said it was investigating and would meet the ship's crew later this week. It is understood the woman, who has not been named, was on the first stop of a 60-day cruise around Australia, with tickets costing in the tens of thousands of dollars for the journey. Wow, that's a lot of money. The woman has since been identified as Suzanne Rees. Suzanne's daughter, Catherine Rees, revealed the day her mother was hiking was very hot and her mother rested after feeling unwell during the hike. Wait, was the daughter with the mother? Or was the mother phoning the daughter? I don't know. How does the daughter know all this? But anyway, so Suzanne was hot and she needed to rest. Again, a tour guide from the cruise line would have been really helpful. Because guess what? They would say things like, make sure to pack water. And if any of you feel unwell, return back. Things like that. Instead, the group just left her to rest. Catherine Rees, in a statement to the press, stated the cruise ship's failure of care and common sense led to her mother's passing. So yes, the cruise ship did have a lot of failure of care, true. However, you know who else had a lot of failure of care? The people she went hiking with. Because again, from what I'm reading, the group she went hiking with left her to rest. And when they got back to the cruise ship, did they stop to say, hey, we went hiking with this 80-year-old woman, and we haven't seen her since? So I'm guessing that because the cruise ship left, those hiking buddies didn't say anything of the sort. At least that's my guess. So when it comes to failure of care, those shipmates that she went hiking with, they kind of dropped the ball too, because they didn't say, hey, we went hiking with this 80-year-old woman and we haven't seen her since. Now, I don't want to speak ill of the departed, but it has to be said. She's 80 years old. She stops to rest because she's hot and unwell during the hike. Was she feeling unwell before the hike started, or was that a result of the hike? Because you have to know your limits, and well, you're 80 years old. You can't really push your limits, you know? I've known women that are in their 50s, and one slip on ice, they break their hips. So, I'm just saying, you know? She added she was asked to head down unescorted. So who asked her? Did this hiking group actually have a cruise escort, or was it just a fellow passenger? I don't know. And again, unescorted. So she might have got lost. Then the ship left, apparently without doing a passenger count, a head count. At some stage in that sequence, or shortly after, Mom passed, alone. Cruising expert Adrian Tasson shared that cruise ships usually know who is on and off board. The case of Rees being unaccounted for appears to be a tragic blunder. Yeah, you could say it was a tragic blunder. I would say all parties share some level of blame. Yeah, the cruise ship has a whole whack of blame, because you can't just let people roam around on their own. They have to be escorted. Again, I don't know if there was an escort or not. I don't know. It doesn't say in the article, so I'm just assuming there wasn't one. And as for her hiking buddies from the ship, did one of them ask her to head back? Maybe that person who asked her to head back should have headed back with her, because again, she's 80 years old, right? And 3, Susan does share some of the blame because she's 80 years old. And not just 80 years old, she's an 80-year-old woman, which, yes, does make that a whole lot worse. Alrighty, here's some of the comments. Not one person in the group she was hiking with noticed her absence. Apparently not. I find that incomprehensible. No one noticed an elderly woman broke from the group and didn't return. Well, it said in the article that she was asked to head back, so someone must have noticed something. Wouldn't they have an escort? Yeah, exactly. A crew member, perhaps, responsible for the group. Yeah, so yeah, that is a pretty big F up. Whatever happened to personal accountability? It's a sad situation, but finger pointing and blame in this case are for singular purpose. Suing the deep pockets, living in happy society means we all pay for it. The cruise line may pay up front, but it's the future passengers who will ultimately pay, with higher prices and more regulations. Yeah. You know, if you go off hiking, tell people that you're going somewhere. Again, she's an 80-year-old woman. Tell the cruise liners or whoever's in charge, I'm going to go for a hike. Is it okay? Do I have to be back at a certain time? Etc. And again, she went with a group. Did the cruise liner even know this, or did a whole whack of people just go off for a hike willy-nilly? I don't know. So yeah, this commenter's pretty accurate. It's personal accountability. Here's a reply. I'm all for personal accountability, but they should have a roll call system in place, like a wristband to scan when you get off and on. That sounds like a good idea. Imagine being neglected, left in an S-hole country after a pit stop. even if you're in prime age. Okay, first off, it's not an S-hole country. Apparently, Lizard Islands are part of Australia. There's, I think, a resort on the island, and I think it's like a national park. I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, when that guy said being left in an S-hole country, I googled these Lizard Islands. I thought it was just like remote little islands with nothing on it, but apparently there's like a resort and hotels and things, and it's a national park. It's my way of saying that commenter is not accurate. It's not an S-hole country. That being said, I have heard of cruise liners leaving people on the docks because those people were late. I'm pretty sure when you board a cruise liner, you have to sign a waiver that says that you'll be on time and everything, and if you're not, you get left behind. This situation, like I said earlier, is a little different because she went out with a whole whack of hikers. Now, if they weren't being supervised by a member of the crew, then yeah, the cruise liner has a lot of liability. It's like, why weren't they supervised to keep track of them? That being said, she was asked to head back because she needed to rest or something. So was she trying to just keep up with the group to maintain appearance? I don't know. But here's what I do know. My mom's in her 60s. She walks around with her phone in her pocket in case she falls. That's called being responsible. Why? She knows she's old. She knows if she falls, she'll probably need help getting back up. This other woman, she's 80, so there's like almost 2 decades worth of difference there. As we get older, we have to accept the truth that our bodies are getting older. We can't do what we used to do when we were younger. So, that's my thoughts on this topic. Take care out there in Clown World.